A very good afternoon on this 27th day of March 2022. This is your weekly news roundup. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Thank you so much for joining us. Now straight away into the bulletin. President Yoweri Museveni this week defined the untimely death of the Speaker of Parliament as a great loss to the country. He extended condolences to the family and all Ugandans and directed that all flags fly at half-mast. Now, the Democratic Party President Norbert Mao this week refuted the media claims and public discussions alleging that the late Speaker of Parliament was airlifted dead to Seattle in America for medication. Mao, who is among the last delegation which checked on the late Speaker in Parliament, has shared with us the journey up to when the Speaker was pronounced dead.
And as you know, I'm not a government official. I'm not eligible for government funding. I was worried about traveling in that economy class. So when I talked to the Deputy Speaker who invited me, she assured me that she would ensure that I get a business class ticket.
Democratic Party President Norbert Mao is among the last Ugandan delegation that saw the late former Speaker of Parliament Bolanya in Seattle, USA.
When we arrived, we dropped our bags at the hotel and immediately went to the hospital. We were ushered into Jacob's room on the intensive care floor. Before we entered the room, the Minister of Health had told us we should prepare ourselves to see Jacob like we had never seen him before. She told us, the man you are going to see is not the Jacob you know. He has lost a lot of weight and he is very ill. So we were prepared, but not as much.
Bolanya was admitted at Fred Hutch Cancer Research Institute, where Mao was among the few Ugandans that saw Bolanya on the hospital bed before he passed on.
He was not on oxygen. He was breathing normally. He was, of course, in the intensive care unit. We tried to call his name. He could open his eyes once in a while and see us, and I could see that he recognized us. And when he recognized us, his face became very sad. It was like he was telling himself, this is goodbye. And tears were streaming out of the corner of his eyes.
The team led by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament by then, Anita Mong, had a chat with Bolanya's medical attendants, who shared with them a detailed treatment plan for the late Speaker of Parliament.
They thought that maybe if they got one of his siblings, they could harvest his cells. And if he's genetically compatible with Jacob's genes, then they could modify probably his brother's blood cells and then reintroduce them into Jacob's bloodstream so that they can fight the cancer. That would have been an option, and that's one of the reasons why we went with his brother. But even then, the doctors had already concluded that Jacob was physically not in a position to take that kind of procedure.
Sadly, this didn't see light as Bolanya made his last brief on Sunday 20th March 2022.
So on that second visit, the doctor basically told us Jacob is going to slip away anytime. And he told us it can be today, it can be tomorrow, it can be the day after, next week, 2 weeks, or later. But it's a matter of time. And he told us as doctors, all they were doing was to ensure that Jacob spent his last days on earth as comfortably as possible, without pain. That's what they were managing. And that's why when we found him, he was heavily sedated with a lot of painkillers. That is when I put out that tweet and ended it with, "It is well." And everybody was interpreting it in their own way.
Mao, also who has closely worked with the late Bolanya since the university days, says he kept his health a private matter.
The level, he never even ever told me he had cancer. But I knew that because of the severe beating he got on the 10th of December 1990 in Makerere when we were on strike as students. He was our speaker, remember? And I was the guild president. And the police came to disperse an assembly of students. And 2 students were killed, shot by the police. Many others were injured by bullets. And Jacob was beaten very severely with the butt of a gun. And that beating traumatized his internal organs. He had to undergo emergency surgery in Mulago, and they removed his spleen. Remember, the spleen is one of the organs that really helps to purify the body.
Norbert Mao also dismisses the current social media talk that the speaker could have been poisoned, saying that this is far-stretched.
The poison talk should not turn our country into a state of fear, where people will even fear now to go to a TV station and drink water. Next time I come to NTV, I'll be looking very suspiciously at the bottle of mineral water. We can't have a country like that. So I really think we must confront those issues and try to build a political system where we can disagree without being disagreeable.
Last evening, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni warned those speculating about the speaker's death.
Actually, we are going to go for them because I have heard some people saying that, oh, some people killed Bolanya. Bolanya was killed. The police are going to come and say, okay, you tell us, you seem to have some information. Oh, yes, because if you say because Bolanya did not die in a private home. He died in a highly reputable hospital. And before that, he was in another big hospital in Dubai. And before that, he was in our hospitals here, including the Cancer Institute. Everything is there.
Robert Onyango,
UBC
News.
In another big hospital.
Members of Parliament this week overwhelmingly voted Bukedea woman Member of Parliament Anita Mong Annette as the next Speaker of Parliament. The election follows the passing on of late Jacob Bolanya, whose death caused a leadership gap in Parliament. Anita Mong Annette polled 401 votes against Asumani Basalirwa's 66 votes. For the new Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Rohingya North MP Thomas Tayebwa replaces Anita Among. Tayebwa was voted and overwhelmingly beating Choga County MP Moses Okot Abitek of FDC. The special seating of the House took place at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds under the stewardship of the Chief Justice Alphonse Owinyidolo.
Anita Among and Honorable Basalirwa Asuman.
The leadership crisis that Jacob Olanya's death created at Parliament has been addressed.
As the Speaker of the 11th Parliament, of the Republic of Uganda. I beg you to move. I am forever indebted to you for this confidence that you're giving me in nominating me for the Speaker of 11th Parliament.
Members of Parliament have voted for the new Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
When the body of the Speaker arrives in this country, a number of things will happen, chief among which will be his lying in state in Parliament and Parliament honoring him. That will be a sitting of Parliament which will enter the Hansard of Parliament. Accordingly, it will be a business of Parliament. And the Constitution, as I've said, is clear that such an honor to the fallen Speaker, in this case, can only be done when there is a Speaker to do that.
Anita Among Anet, who has been the Deputy Speaker, has risen to become Speaker after defeating Bugiri Municipality Member of Parliament, Asmani Basalirwa.
By virtue of the powers entrusted to me by Article 82, Clause 5 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I hereby declare Among Anita Anet as the duly elected Speaker of the 11th Parliament.
The exercise, which started mid-morning on Friday, was presided over by the Chief Justice of Uganda, Alphonse Owiny-Dolo. It follows a vacuum that the death of Speaker Jacob Bolanya created, with no constitutional provision for automatic takeover by the deputy. The process, which went on smoothly, saw Anita Among emerge victorious, garnering 401 votes against Asmani Basalirwa's 66.
And that I will support, uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by the law established. So help me God. I would have had a strong mentor and a stronger leader in Jacob, but we thank God for everything. As the Parliament of Uganda and as a country, we can only celebrate his life by taking forward the aspirations that he had promised the people of Uganda, and I can promise the country I will do that.
Which I am glad to call myself the title of Shadow Speaker. I want to thank you so much, the 66. To this regard, colleagues, I want to thank the Right Honorable Anita Among upon your election. I want to confirm that the process has been open, has been free, has been democratic.
Upon settling in her new seat, she presided over elections for Deputy Speaker, having resigned the position. Thomas Taibwa was nominated by Tororo District Woman Member of Parliament Sarah Opendi and seconded by Kitgum District Woman MP Lillian Abe.
I beg to move under Article 82 of the Constitution and Rule 6 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament that the Honorable Taibwa Thomas, Member of Parliament, Ruhinda North County, Mitoma District, do take the chair of this Parliament as the Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament.
I rise up to second the motion moved by Honorable Sarah Opendi for the nomination of Honorable Taibwa Thomas as the Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament.
57-58.
Taibwa emerged victorious against Kyoga County legislator Okot Bitek Jr.
By virtue of the powers entrusted to me by Article 82(5) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I declare Honorable Taiwa Thomas the duly elected Deputy Speaker of 11th Parliament.
At the end of the day, it was clear that the leadership crisis at Parliament was no more.
To my colleagues in the opposition, we are the leaders that God has chosen at this point in time to serve our people. I want to congratulate my brother Okot Bitek for the spirited fight he has managed to put up. We've known each other for long, from campus days up to now. We are working together, and I want to congratulate you.
The entire process was graced by the head of state, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you very much, Henry Okrut.